Hello beloved brick community and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, as requested by some of you, I wanted to give you an overview of the MOC Jabba's Palace, actually designed by Brick Boss. I have purchased his PDF file for around about $20, and then I have sourced every Lego brick on Bricklink. As you probably are aware, you can find this set not licensed, not using Lego bricks on various platforms. For me, of course, no option. As we can see, the palace is built in 3 sections, which I will show you later on. We have the bottom section, which is the mountain, including the main gate. And on top, we have Jabba's palace himself, and to the left, the communication tower. And on top, we have a dome, the large one, which will be housing the Bacta tank, not in this version though, and a smaller one. And I give you a roundabout of the palace now. Actually, minifigures are not included. I have included minifigures from various Star Wars sets, which I will show you later on. As we can see here, we have the staircase coming up. This is the little hole to the lower left section. And we have the Rancor pit. And on the back we can see various different rooms. Of course, we have again the Rancor pit on the lower side, and on top of it we have the throne room, where Jabba is actually playing with Leia, and Bib Fortuna is also there. And we see Boba Fett fleeing from the Max Rebo Band station. We also see, when I show you later on, of course, details, we have carbonized Han Solo. Then in the lower middle section, we actually have the entrance from the gate, the hallway basically, where we have this spider droid guy. And to the right, we have the quarters of Malakili, the Rancor Keeper. And on the top right, you have the entrance to the tower, which actually is not accessible. On the palace's left-hand side, we get a closer look again at Malakili's quarters. We also have a hallway leading to the Rancor pit, and to the right-hand side we can see the torture chamber for the droids. And that basically concludes the tour of the palace. From that perspective, of course, as mentioned, I will show you much more details coming now. Okay, now I will show you additional details and some of the functions of Jabba's palace. So the first one, as you can see, of course, you can open the gate by simply lifting it up. Oops, sorry. It does hold somehow. So there's no mechanism, but it does stay up. And the second thing, which is actually very interesting, is to open this up. As you can see, you can flip the front side. Completely open, so that you reveal additional chambers and have access to the inside of the palace. And as we can see on the lower left, we have basically just some cave-like enclosures which have no function and have no access. So I put some storage bins in there, and as we can see as well, we have some Javas meddling and searching for scrap. Then on the lower section here, we actually can see inside the torture chamber, and we have, or I have included some minifigures. One is this EV99 droid, which comes of the original Lego Jabba's Palace, the first one, set 4480, and is unique to that set. Actually that counts as well for the Gong Droid. That one, as you can see, has a lovely print, which is also unique. It's right there. And then the Torture Master is a dude that I've actually no idea where he came from. I found him in my various minifigure selections, but I like that guy as he has this droid-like appearance as well. So droid torturing droid, I think that's very interesting. Then in the middle section, which actually prolongs the entrance, we see that, can we see it? No, we can't. Yeah, now we can. This Boba monk kind of thing in his spider-like droid gadget to move around, because as we know, they all took their brains out in order to not be constrained by any physical kind of means, so therefore strengthening their brains, and that's why they only have their brains left. Interesting thought. To the right, we have the staircase, an interesting feature, as I think, and of course we have Mando and the child visiting and climbing up the stairs, and the stairs actually lead nowhere. Just I think it's an interesting gadget to have this long staircase from the lower ground, of course, leading more or less to the palace on top. So that's that for the interior from that side. And again, I think an interesting feature. Not sure if having this opening up in one go is a good idea, because you need a lot of space to open it. So if you would have basically attached hinges to the left and the right, therefore opening it in the middle, I think would have been better from an overall play experience. The right side of the palace actually reveals the back of the Rancor pit, and we can see we have the Rancor here, and we also have a gate. This one is brick built using Technic elements, and I think he's done a good job of building this and making this interesting to look at. The original gate would not have had any chance of functioning, as you cannot lift it up to the top anyway. So I think therefore this brick built cheap version does the trick. And to the left we see the end of the staircase. As I mentioned before, it's leading nowhere, so we just have to assume it's heading up to the throne room. And we can see Mando paying his visit, as we saw him running up the stairs anyway, here in his Christmas jumper suit from the Star Wars Advent Calendar 2021. And on top here, where do we see it? There. The red kind of button, of course, is the release of the trapdoor, which I will show you in a second. Okay, now on the back side of the palace, we of course have the interesting throne room, which we can see here. We have, similar to the regular Lego build, Jabba's throne. Actually too big for my view, because you cannot have stairs attached left and right, which I think you should, adhering to the original, as well as you cannot move it. So you can see the trapdoor actually is visible right now, so it's not hidden by the throne, actually has no function, and you can see that the throne sits on a complete brick. So therefore I have to remodel this and lower the throne and attach basically a mechanism so that the throne can slide and not revealing the trapdoor. And to the right I have installed Han Solo in carbonite, because this, I think, is what Jabba considers art. It's the only piece visible for us, so I think he enjoys having Han there, Mabuki. And we see, of course, Leia, yellow Leia in this case, and we see Bib Fortuna, actually Bib Fortuna of the recent Boba Fett throne, set number 75326. And to the left of the throne room we have a little music station, as mentioned by Max Rebo and his crew. You can see his organ thingy or whatever he's used to play. And then, of course, we have the little drum kit of the Muppets. And that's why I think Boba Fett is fleeing. So that concludes the throne room. Again, very basic. And of course, here you have the second function, or the third actually, because we showed you opening the gate and opening the entire front. And now, of course, we have the trapdoor. Oof, off he goes downstairs to actually feed our little pet. There he is, still alive. That will not be the case in a few moments. Then towards the right, I mentioned this is actually the prolongation of the hallway. Then here again we have, I moved this over, it's making it much easier. We have Malakili's quarters, and coincidentally I got this little thingy, actually a panel with a sticker, and I like the counting that Malakili did. I think that is how long he has not been home, as we can see. So although he loves the Rancor, I think also he loves his home. And here again we have that Boma monk, or more or less what's left of it. And then on top we have this neat little room, which I think is very nice and detailed with those pipes. No idea what this really is, but I think it has to do with the cooling which normally resides in the dome of the palace. And then to the right we have a little staircase indicated, and then a table, but again that staircase leads nowhere, as the tower, which is the communication tower, is not connected at all, or at least not playable, has only the elements, the round elements, and on top you have this little dome as well. So that concludes the tour from behind the palace. And now on the left hand side we again have a view onto Malakili's quarters, as well as the hallway leading up to the Rancor gate. And to the right we have the droid torture chamber again, where we can see many parts of droids, arms, heads, and all the likes, and the torsos, and again EV-99, Gong droid, and so forth. So I think overall a very interesting design, lots of features, lots of rooms, and I think the little maze kind of structure is really well done, as it is, I think, in the really original palace. So overall, a good set. Talking about size, as you probably have seen, the set sits on 2 base plates, 32 studs, and the opening front has 2 base plates, 32 by 16. So overall 2.5 base plates, which equates to 20 inches in width. Therefore also then 15 inches in depth, and exactly 20 inches as well up to the top of the communication tower. So overall a very impressive set. And now we can see the final function of Jabba's palace, and that is, it is built in a modular fashion. Therefore we can detach the actual palace from the mountain base, and we can detach the dome from the palace to reveal the insides. Excellent idea, but unfortunately the worst feature, as the base plates holding the palace as well as the dome are totally fragile. It is a real mess to take it off. Things fall apart, and that is something that needs fixing. So I ordered a couple of more plates. So I actually will end up having 2 plates and much more rigidness, as we can see. The original design was done by using these little round pieces here, which were supposed to hold different plates in place. But of course, as you can imagine, if you have the round pieces here holding 4 different plates, that will not work. They fall apart, and therefore I used what material I had. But as you can see over on the left hand side here, this whole thing is falling apart. Same with the dome. If you look at this, it's only held by like the little tiles, something like that. It's not stiff at all. And the second flaw, which is equally annoying, is that none of these pieces hold in place. So if you tip them, they all fall apart, which is of course a real shame and almost a deal breaker. But again, I can fix it. I ordered parts and you will have plates. But I will also make this whole section removable so that you actually have access to the palace itself. And I will show you the on top views in a moment. And now we have the top view of the mountain base, where you can see again to the right the Rancor pit, to the left the torture chamber, the droid torture chamber, then the main entrance on the lower side here, going to the Bomar Monk, and to the left again a maze, and then Malakili's quarters. And here we have the nice view inside Jabba's palace, where we can see, now that's the mechanism of the trapdoor sticking out, where we can see him, the trapdoor, and then the boiler room or whatever thingy that was, cooling room. So very good access to play if you could open the roof. But overall, again, a nice idea. The last piece to discuss is the dome. By placing a minifigure next to it, in this case mine, we see that the entire dome is not much larger, about 4 to 5 stars high. Actually not high enough to do anything with it. I think in the real palace of the Star Wars universe there is a ventilation system, and of course in the book of Boba Fett we have the Bacta tank installed. This is another enhancement I will provide. If I pull over a desert skiff, you see what I mean. Again, overall a very good design, but it definitely needs improvements. This will be part of episode 2 of this review, which we will review once the parts arrived and I have installed them. As the Rancor cave is high enough, you can actually replace it and use it as a bay area to store a desert skiff, as you can see here. As you probably know, there is another MOC of Jabba's palace by 2 bricks. He actually has a complete different design and layout, using more or less the Boba Fett's throne set and enhancing it into a Jabba's palace. And there he has also a desert skiff and places it instead of the Rancor. So I think, again, from the playability, it's nice, you can do that. I actually want to extend the palace by probably an additional floor, or extend it in width so I can have an extra garage for placing a spaceship. That concludes my review for episode 1. We will continue once the parts that I've ordered do arrive and I can actually modify the palace. So thanks for watching, and see each other soon. Have a good day and keep on bricking.